You already know who it is. Asharenu. He back in this bitch. Once again. With the madness. As usual. So what I wish to convey in this lesson is welcome to the Scorpio season. Right? What's up, the Prime Ascension? What's up, Spinosaurus? Like, what's the deal? 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 So hopefully everybody's in tune about what's going on. But if you're not in tune, I'll let you know what's going on. Let me change this song real quick and we'll get started. What's good, Yon Samsura? What's good? Definitely shout out to all the members on the website. Definitely. Y'all been holding it down. But I definitely want to let everybody know I posted a bunch of articles like on the same day, and I was supposed to put them on private, but this shit got released. Like all of it got released at the same time, so I'm pretty much re-releasing everything. So you may not get the articles in order. So if you go to the website and you look, okay, that's the same article that's been uploaded, you kind of have to go down the timeline to see the new articles. So just to let the people know on the website what's going on. What's up, back from hiatus? What's up, Moon Spirit? What's up, Dizzy? You know what I mean? I don't even know how long it's been since I made a video. You already know. You know what I mean? Time is just different. But as y'all see, you know, I've been in tune with the spirit as usual. So I definitely want to come to you and present, you know, just the energy of the Scorpio, you know, by me being a sun sign and an ascendant Scorpio. Of course, who's better to talk about Scorpio than myself? What's up, Nisi Major? So we're not going to take too long. I definitely want to get this out the way. You know, I mean, I don't want to, you know, just be on here just wasting anybody's time. So let's, first and foremost, we must understand that Scorpio is ruled by Mars, and Mars also rules Aries. When we think about the energy of Scorpio, we think about the energy of sex and death. When we think about the energy of Aries, we think about war, honor, hardship. Excuse me, what's up, Elisa? Right? So when we combine these energies of Scorpio and Aries under the rulership of Mars, so for these next, I guess, 20-something days for the Scorpio season, this opens us up for metamorphosis. What's up? I don't even know how to pronounce your name, bro. But what's up, O'Shea? Afro Pig is in the building. But, you know, I see you, WIODAC, you know. I guess you're, you know, it may be German, it may be Russian, but I just want to acknowledge you as well. So when we are dealing with the energy of Scorpio for the next 20-something days, what we can keep in mind is metamorphosis and the deep waters of metamorphosis. What do I mean? Because, you know, recently, you know, of course, we've been talking about, you know, Satan, Satanism, Baphomet, Lucifer, so on and so forth, which pretty much is talking about purification through the fire. But when we deal with the energy of Scorpio, now we're talking about purification through the deep waters, not just the waters, but the deep waters. You know, the same waters that sunk Atlantis type waters, right? Because it is through the energy of Scorpio that you start to discover the mysteries of what is hidden beneath the conscious mind, which you can say the subconscious, the unconscious, whatever you want to call it, right? So this gives us the ability, and of course I got the tarot cards right here, so I'll be able to illustrate everything that I'm saying to you. So actually, let me pick out the cards now while I'm explaining these things. So because we know Scorpio rules the deep waters, those Atlantis waters, the hidden DNA codes, not the DNA codes that we are aware of, but the ones we are not aware of, the ones that come online when your life is threatened. DNA codes, that killer instinct that's all within us that may be suppressed for whatever reason, for various reasons, because we live in a matrix. So we are not in tune with the natural forces and the natural movements of the earth. Therefore, we have to do it eternally. So this isn't to say go out and connect with nature. You know, we should already be doing that. But on an internal level, we will start to explore the mysteries. So first and foremost, we have the tower. All right? Hold on. Yeah, what's going on? No, you can just put it on the table. I don't need it right now. Now let me get you the energy of Scorpio, but not just the energy of Scorpio, also the energy of water. So we're going to piece all of this together. All right? So give me 1 second. Let me get all these cards ready for you so we can illustrate this point and keep it moving. But as I'm looking for this card, this is also the card of Aries. So we need Scorpio, we need the water card, which is Mem, which I'll be showing you in just 1 second, which represents the hanged man, right? Let me get this all together. Of course, I should have did this before the video started, but we know we don't be planning anything. We come right off the dome. You know, this as an exercise, a mental little exercise. So bear with me for just a short second here. Okay. Here's the hanged man right here. And the last card we need is the Scorpio, which is the death card, which is right here. All right? So we're going to illustrate all of this very quickly, very briefly. Let me see what's going on here. What's up, Jay Flower? What's up, Savage God? What's the meaning of the black nails? We can actually get into that. Let me break down these cards. And I'll let y'all know what this is all about. You know, for those in the know, y'all can pretty much see where I'm going with this. But I will thoroughly explain that. So just sit tight. Let's get through this lesson real quick. Then we can start talking about the personal stuff. So we have these 4 cards, right? We got the energy of Mars, the energy of Aries, the energy of water, this pure waters. Remember those deep metamorphosis or metamorphic waters. And of course, you got the energy of death, right? So let me turn this down a little bit. So to start, why does the energy of Scorpio, which we can see right here, the symbol of Scorpio, why does the symbol of Scorpio represent death? And we also see the waters, right? See the fish, the snake, all this, the scorpion. So we see there's water present in the card, because most of the time we think about death, we may not be thinking about water. But death just represents the deep waters. For anybody who has done psychedelics, shrooms, DMT, LSD, you understand that, or hopefully you understand that the purification process is not only internal, but what's really being affected. It's the waters within the body. The body is mostly water. So when you engage in psychedelics, which are poison, but the body has the ability to transmute the poison. And through the body transmuting the poison, it creates the psychedelic experience. For those who may not understand the meaning, because psychedelic just means to make your mind visible. So all the things that's going on within the mind become visible to you on a conscious level. So all these things that's swirling around the subconscious and the unconscious and even the collective conscious of the planet, you can tap into those deeper aspects of self and be able to pull and receive information. This is why the energy of Scorpio represents death, not a physical death, but a mental and a spiritual death, a cleansing, a necessary cleansing. I believe, there's a full moon, or it was a full moon just yesterday or the day before, full moon energy going on. And we also know that the first quarter of the full moon, not the full moon, but the crescent moon, the first quarter of the crescent moon, we know that is the most powerful energy for manifestation. Getting back to the death card, the energy of Scorpio, it also, and not only does it represent the waters, but we see that the skeleton has not only a crown on his head, but he's also carrying a scythe, or, however you say, you know, the Grim Reaper tool. The purpose of this tool is to uproot the occult information or the hidden truths that are normally covered from the eyes. So he uses his tool to uncover the secrets that are trapped within the soul. And that's why the skeleton is represented as a black figure, representing the soul. And not only the soul, but your consciousness, the crown. You see, this is the crown of Osiris. If we know anything about Osiris or Asar, Osiris is the Lord of Death or Lord of the underworld, Lord of the subconscious mind, the Lord of astral travel, however you want to put that. So the death also represents astral travel. It represents the subconscious mind and your ability to transform mentally and spiritually, also physically, if you get deeper into it, because we know everything starts in the mind. So by you changing your mind and by you changing your spirit, the physical body will follow, because you will start to do different things and see things from a different light. So the energy of Scorpio allows you to undergo and to experience the energy of death and to become one with the energy of death, which keeps you constantly renewed. We also know that when we bring it up to date, Scorpio is also ruled by Pluto, which is the energy or the planet of transformation, even though Pluto is not considered a planet. But we understand when we deal with astrology, we're not really concerned with what science says. We just deal strictly with energy. And Pluto was already known, you know, before it was actually discovered. I believe they only discovered Pluto in the 40s, maybe even the 50s, but Pluto was already known, you know, to the people before that time. Anyway, this is the energy of death, the energy of metamorphosis, the energy of cleansing yourself with the deep waters of the soul, the internal waters of Atlantis, and to be able to renew yourself constantly, spiritually, mentally, and physically, all without having to go through a physical death. This is the energy of Scorpio. Now, if we want to get a little advanced, this is why I brought the other cards to you. And I see that we just entered into the hour of Mars. For those who are into the planetary energies, you know, on an hour-to-hour basis, we just entered into the hour of Mars, which of course is symbolic. Nonetheless, let us continue. Since we just entered into the energy of Mars, let's just deal with the Mars card before we deal with the Hanged Man here. As we see, Mars, as we see the symbol here, represents the tower. We see, you know, we see death and destruction, right? We see the serpent, we see the dove, we see the eye of Haru, the eye of Shiva, we see the mouth of Disc, we see the flames, and of course, we see the lightning bolt, right? So you see the lightning bolt, you see the fire, everything is being destroyed or renewed. So this is showing you the fiery perspective of Scorpio. So now that we understand that Scorpio represents the waters, the deep waters of transmutation, when we look at the energy of the tower, the planet Mars, we see that Mars represents your energy, pure masculine energy, the energy that motivates and inspires you to move, right? The physical body, your will, your solar plexus, however you want to see it. And once the eye of Shiva or the eye of Haru is opened, it annihilates the known universe. If we understand anything about Gnosticism, it's all about destroying the universe. Not just the physical universe, but also the astral planes. So it's not for us to even get caught up with ascension and transcending and all that. It ain't even, because all that is still illusion. The fifth dimension, sixth dimension, seventh dimension, those dimensions are still illusions, just like the physical plane is. So the astral world is still based in this known universe that is being destroyed. And that's why we see the change that we see in today's times, because things are really changing and breaking down and renewing themselves for us to observe in the place or put into action the same thing we witnessed the planet going through, we are also going through on an internal level. And when you tap into that, the energy of the tower or the energy of Mars, the energy that's already being shown on the planet in various aspects. We tap into the energy of the tower when it's time, not just for destruction, but when it's time, not just for change, but when it's time for ruthless, volatile, violent, sudden change. See, when we deal with the energy of Scorpio, it's like a long-term change and metamorphosis. The energy of Mars gives you that lightning bolt instantly. If we observe lightning, it can destroy essentially anything. Anything that lightning touches will be instantly destroyed instantly. It disappears just as fast as it appeared. That lightning bolt gives quick, sudden, direct change that affects the whole chessboard or the game of life. Because if anybody gets struck by lightning, you either die or you have a near-death experience. Either one, you are freeing your soul, whether physically or spiritually, by having that near-death experience and being able to travel on the astral plane and to see your life from a different perspective. Not to get caught up in the astrals like this is the place to ascend to, but to explore and to travel and to understand yourself from a different perspective, from various perspectives. That's why we have all of the planetary energies. Now let's move to the energy of the Emperor. This is now the energy of Aries, as we see here. The energy of Aries, we see that this same energy is now compressed and concentrated. He now wields the energy of the tower in the palm of his hands, being expressed through a bomb. So the Emperor has learned how to wield his power in the palm of his hands. And he also holds, let me show y'all a little closer. You see the ram head, right? He holds the staff with the ram's head. Why is the ram so important? Because the ram also, or always, represents that primitive spark of life. The energy that awakens the spring after the long fall, not the fall, the winter. After the winter has made its rounds, that break of spring is the power of the Emperor, or the power of Aries, holding his bomb. Not a lightning bolt, but a bomb. Because with a bomb, now you can control where the impact lays or where it goes, right? So if you hold a bomb, you can either hold it in the palm of your hand and you blow yourself up, which basically just represents spiritual transmutation, or you can throw it or direct it in a specific location and get results that way. So now you have the ability to control lightning in your hands, or to control fire in your hands. The spark of life is now tamed in the palm of your hands. This is why the Emperor represents prestige. If you look at the card, it represents sulfur. Sulfur is pretty much a triangle and a line, an upward triangle and a line. That's what you see this. The line is here, and this is the upward triangle. Sulfur. Sulfur is a flammable substance. Remember, you have sulfur, mercury, and salt. Sulfur is a flammable substance. Mercury is the lucid substance. And salt is the earthly substance, right, that create life. So the Emperor represents the sulfur, that flammable substance. You can say like the ether. But that can be directed and transmutated and concentrated to build glory around yourself. What do I mean by that? In order for you to, let's just say you have land, but the land is, it needs to be leveled. Because if you try to build on top of this land, everything is not going to be leveled. So it must be leveled. You must tend to the land before you start building on top of the land. The Emperor represents the leveling process of leveling the land. This useful land that you have acquired needs to be leveled before you can build on top of it. The Emperor represents the ability to level before the building and the construction takes place. And the energy you use to level those lands is the spark of life, the energy of Aries, or sulfur, that flammable substance, the thing within you, that same killer instinct that will allow you to take a person's life if necessary, is also the same spark that creates life. The same spark that takes life is the same spark that creates life. That same lust that you have for your partner or the opposite sex is the same lust somebody has when it's time to put that work in, if necessary. And lastly, we're going to deal with the hangman, just to bring it full circle. So we're giving some water and some fire and showing how they can mix and match with each other. Lastly, the hangman. As we see, he's hanging upside down with the serpent around his feet, holding on by the ankh. So you see this upside down ankh and the sun behind it. And we know that the energy of the sun, or the energy that powers the sun, is Sirius. We know that, whenever you study Egyptian mythology and their worship, mainly the 18th dynasty with Akhenaten, who worship the Aten, the sun worshippers, which is the energy of Sirius. So it's the energy of Sirius that levels him, because remember, this is also sulfur. It's just differently. It's turned upside down, as we see the downward pointing triangle, which represents the water instead of the fire. So the same energy of the emperor and the fire is being represented here through the waters. Now we know if you were to hang yourself upside down, what happens? The blood rushes to your head, and it makes you feel lightheaded. It makes you feel disorientated, right? It allows you to have a psychedelic experience, right? So for all those who don't know, you can practice inversion. Inversion is pretty much just standing on your head before you go to sleep. If you stand on your head about 15, 20 minutes before you lay down and go to sleep, not only does it put you in a meditative state before you rest, it enhances your dreams. I noticed this personally. Like a lot of times I may dream, but the dream is like a dim light. And a lot of people may resonate with that. It's like when you dream, it's like a dim light. It's not too bright, it's dim. But when you practice inversion and you allow the blood to flow to the pineal gland before you go to sleep, this allows, let this pass, this allows you to have more light in your dreams and make the dreams more vivid when you practice inversion. So the science of inversion in and of itself is a mystical art. But when we take it a step further, we see that there's green orbs by his feet and his hands. We see that there's another serpent in the waters, and his consciousness is being projected on the face of the water. So he doesn't see the serpent underneath the water, but he can sense it. Because he's upside down, it makes your senses more amplified. So you can sense things a lot more clearly when you hang upside down. So he has a serpent at his head and also at his feet, the root chakra all the way to the crown chakra. And what connects them? The Kundalini snakes. Started at the root and end up at the crown, or start at the crown and end up at the root. This represents transmutation through the waters, metamorphosis, as we explained with the Scorpio card. But in this instinct, this represents the pure water. So now we're not necessarily dealing with the Scorpio, but the waters of the Scorpio card. So basically, if you were to look at the death card, all the water elements of this card is represented by this card. That's how the cards connect. And for example, with these two cards, the Emperor, you can say, represents the eye in that card. And the energy of the Tower, the eye, is the Emperor. Nonetheless, lastly, through the practice of inversion, Also through the practice of connecting with Sirius, the light of Sirius. This is the point of people sun gazing. Why is sun gazing effective? Because you are channeling the light of Sirius, which powers the sun. The sun, you can say, is just the souls of all of the ancestors. That's what the sun is. It's the combination of all the ancestors that ever lived, and they combined their forces and unified and created the sun. There's many different theories, and again, so don't take this as absolute truth. It's just a way or a perspective to view things. Not the perspective, but a perspective. So through the practice of inversion, connected with the energy of Sirius. So now you got the earthly plane, the human body, connected with the extraterrestrial plane. Sirius, the planetary energy. And through the connection of Sirius and inversion and being able to not only be upside down, but to sustain that form, as you see, this is not by, he's not like a prisoner and he's just suffering the consequence. The reason you see him in this stance is because he is willingly participating in his own metamorphosis. So this is a willing participant, and that's why his legs is folded. That's why this is a willing participant of initiation. The hanged man represents initiation, the willingness to undergo a metamorphosis through sacrifice. And the sacrifice he's making is the sacrifice of his human vessel, because you being upside down, again, it amplifies the six senses, your intuition, your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, so on and so forth. These attributes are amplified. And that's why you see these beams of light coming out of his head or out of his eyes. And the serpent underneath the waters represent the mysteries. So you have the mysteries of this serpent. You can say this is the average person. The average person may think that they have knowledge of the surface, but the deeper knowledge, that Atlantean knowledge, is deep within the waters of the hanged man, of inversion connecting with Sirius. All right? So, welcome to Scorpio season. I'm just giving y'all a little insight into how to manipulate the energy in your favor. And of course, if you didn't already know, this is why you have one of these skulls. Why? Because the skull not only represents the crystal skulls, which is the ability to retain your memory after death, but also the skulls are good for to retain your memory, period. So you can have, like I tried this personally, you can sleep with a skull looking right at you. Right? Not like this, but you laying down and you have the skull, looking at you wherever, however you position yourself. You got it on a dresser or whatever. You just got it, in your presence. Because again, most of the time, it's the symbolism of the skull and the effect it has on the subconscious mind, more so than the skull itself. It's what the skull symbolizes. What does it symbolize? Death, or the energy of Scorpio, the energy of transmutation. So when you have a skull in your presence, it allows you to go deeper into your dreams. Like when I would sleep with my head close to this, facing me, real close to my sleeping area, my dreams were way more vivid. Now, physically, it doesn't make any sense. Physically, like, what does sleeping with a skull have to do with dreams, have to do with metamorphosis? Remember, it's all about the symbolism. Never look at things on face value. Look at them for what they symbolize. Because if you look at them for what they symbolize and the effect it has on the subconscious mind, then you can gather all the tools you need because you know what they represent. So if you need to tap into a certain aspect of yourself, for example, the Scorpio energy, get you a skull. This is the best symbol to tap into the Scorpio energy. Why? Because the Scorpio energy is death. And what is the symbol of death? The skull. The skull and bones. The 322, the bear insomnia, the energy of Saturn, Satan. There's various connections. So you having one of these, allows you to go deeper into, who and what you are. Below the surface, those deep Atlantean, sunken treasures, to explore the sunken treasures, no longer on the surface. So, and then we have it. So, again, we don't want to take up too much time here. So let me give everybody a shout out before we get up on. Let's see where we at with it. Was this video just named 1111? Yeah. So I named the video 1111 because that's what I was going to talk about originally. Then I got it's like, no, I don't talk about that. Talk about this. So yeah, when I made that video, pretty much like 5 minutes before I made this one, I was going to talk about that. But then the spirit said, don't worry about it. Speak about this. Speak about the energy of the Scorpio. So that's why for some people saw that video, now they don't see it. So no, I didn't actually make that video with just the title. I didn't actually get to it. So no worries there. I just had a change of heart at the last minute. What's up, Petunia? Callie's in the building. What's the deal? What's the deal? Energy today is certainly shifty, but you know, it's all about learning how to navigate with the wave. Be the surfer. The surfer connects with the wave. The surfer does not see themselves as different than the wave. The surfer and the wave are one entity. The surfer has learned how to merge with the waters, and that's how they are able to maintain their balance on this little bitty board with these big ass waves. It's a connection of the spirit of the water. The water has a spirit. The water also has elementals, or as they call mermaids and mermen. It's another thing you can connect with. For those who are into elementals, connect with the mermaid energy or the merman energy, which is a masculine aspect of the mermaid. To further connect with the deep waters. Also connect with the primordial deities, just like the energies of Cthulhu, the energies of the Titans, the energy of the sea dragons of Greek mythology, so on and so forth. You know, the primordial deities, not the Olympians, you know, that we're familiar with, the Zeus, the Personian, so on and so forth, the Aries. We're talking about the Titans and also the deities before the Titans. That's what we're talking about, the sea dragons. Because before the Titans, it was nothing but sea dragons, or what Naga serpents, right? The Kundalini serpents. And again, you know, just giving y'all some bits and pieces here. Let's see. What's up, 305 Capricorn? What's up, Unknown 11? All right. What's up, Marvin and Magi? Skulls are everywhere around this time of year. Skulls are everywhere at any time of the year. It's just that people see, this is okay. So let me speak about this quickly. And I see the $11 donation from Marvin and Magi. As always, appreciate you, big homie. Definitely long-term supporter. You know what I mean? Definitely appreciate the give and receive, you know, as always. And we're going to keep bringing the heat as usual. So definitely shout out to everybody that has supported me, that continues to support. And if you would like to support, again, feel free to join the website. You know, just check out the website if you already haven't. You know, we're definitely going to be constantly updating it on a daily to semi-daily basis. Nonetheless, let us continue. Now with the skulls. The skulls are everywhere, you know, at any time of the year. You just have to know where to look, because it represents an energy that's deeper than the Halloween energy. See, this is what's happening with most people. Most people connect with this energy because of the Halloween, which is the Day of the Dead. The Day of the Dead is like November 1st, sometimes November 2nd. This is the time to connect with Baron Samedi, the Day of the Dead, you know, the beginning of November. So before you get to the Day of the Dead, you have to open up the gateways. The gateways are opened on Halloween. So that's why people don't have a problem having all this demonic energy amongst them around the dark side of the year. Because we're entering into the dark side of the year with fall and winter. So people have no problem embracing that energy, you know, for the right time. Just like people have no problem embracing that Thanksgiving energy. People have no problem embracing that Christmas energy. All these energies, because, you know, some people say, okay, these are just made up holidays that don't symbolize what we think they symbolize, which is very true. But you must learn how to transmute the energy. So for example, you know, Halloween is coming up. So this is the time of the year to collect some items that you can get for cheap. You can go to 99-cent store, the dollar store, Walmart, wherever it is that you shop. You have all these items available to you to practice your spiritual work. So don't look at these things as something to, get and put away. Use this time to gather all the materials you need for the Day of the Dead. October 31st, November 1st, November 2nd. Those 3 days are the most pivotal days for those who truly want to work with the energy of death. This is why those days are in the season of Scorpio. The Day of the Dead is in the season of Scorpio. Halloween is in the season of Scorpio. The demonic forces, the demonic energy. And again, we've been talking so much about Satan and demons and all that. People should already be caught up, with what I mean when I'm referring to Satan. At least at this point, if you haven't, just watch the previous videos, and it's thoroughly explained to you. And we're going to continue to explain more. I may do a whole video about the Baphomet, because I just briefly touched on it. But, this history is so intricate because you got to learn how to put the pieces back together. You have the story that's told, but then you have the reality. And you have to learn how to put the pieces back so that you can fully understand what's being shown and what's being seen. Because if you are basing your whole perspective off of somebody else's perspective, then it's going to be incomplete. But when the spirit is activated within you, when that third eye is open, you're able to read a complete lie and still extract the truth from it. Because that's just the power of the third eye. It's the power of discernment, the eye of discernment. You're able to see through all illusions. So you can be, again, a person can be lying to you, you can be reading a book full of lies, and the spirit will guide you through to where you need to be. All right. Let me see. We got a couple questions here. Let's answer these. How can skulls help you to keep your memory after death? How can we use it? Or how can we use them? See, what we have to understand about symbolism is physically none of this stuff makes sense. It makes no sense that you sleep with a skull in your room, that it enhances your dream. Physically, if you're just looking at things from a physical perspective, that does not make any sense. However, when we look at the skull as a symbol for something deeper, which it is, it's the energy of Scorpio, the energy of death, which is already within us. The whole zodiac is already within us. And we can bring these energies to life from within. This is called invocation. You got evocation, you got invocation. The invocation is you bringing the energy to life within you. The evocation is when you draw symbols and all that, when you work with the energy externally. Therefore, it's the symbolism of what the skull represents. So just having a skull just in your area, wherever your computer is, just put the skull right there. Wherever your bed is, put the skull right there. Wherever you are anyway, just put a skull, just to keep it in your subconscious mind. And it's the symbolism of the skull that allows you to go deeper. It's what the skull symbolizes, not the skull itself. And if we can understand that, this is what I mean by, so you can go to any of these stores and get the symbols that you need to go deeper. And the symbolism would allow you to go deeper versus how much it actually costs or what materials it made from. You need to get something expensive. No, you just need something simple. Something simple that has symbolism. A skull, this or that, whatever energy that you choose to work with. I'm just using the skull because it's the season of Scorpio. So this is the best symbol to work with. All right. Where we at with it? Is it possible to sum up 10 years of being a practitioner, like the main point or a conclusion from all the research? Okay, so if I was to sum up my 10 years of studying the occult, but not just studying the occult, but practicing the occult, practitioner, as we said here. If I was to sum it up, what would be my conclusion? My conclusion would be that truth is stranger than fiction. It is because occult knowledge is just truth, veiled. It's the hidden culture. That's all the occult is. That's what the dark side is. That's what the black arts is. The hidden culture, the culture that is hidden or veiled to the untrained eye or the uninitiated eye. So, the deeper you go into your initiations, the deeper you purify your mind of all of the symbolism that has been ingrained inside of you since birth. So you are going through this internal experience to purify all of this nonsense that was put into you, you know, by your environment. Not to say that everything was bad, but everything wasn't good. And this goes for anybody. You know, everybody had parents, or one parent, two parent, grandmother, whoever, you know, foster home. You didn't have anybody in your household who was perfect. None of us did. So there's things that were done right, but then there was things that were done wrong, and that's for everybody. So the things that were done wrong, the things that still affect you to this day, is the things that you need to clear out of your mind, and it's mainly symbolism. Like, for example, like if somebody was to run into their ex that they were previously in a relationship with and it ended terribly, they wouldn't even want to be in the same area of this person. Like, I don't want to speak to this person. I don't want to see them. Oh, they over there. Let me go over here. Because the symbolism of what that person represents still affects you. Even if you don't think about it on a daily basis. Like, I don't think about this person. You don't have to think about them. But the moment you see this motherfucker, it triggers all that stuff that's already within you that needs to be dealt with. And that's what happens a lot of times. A lot of time it's the symbols that trigger us to respond the way we respond. And we may not understand, like, yo, why did I respond that way? Because we don't understand the symbolism that needs to be purified within the mind. And this is why we use symbols. So you can't just take something away and leave an empty void. You take something away and replace it with something else. So instead of me being afraid of skulls, I learned the meaning, the occult meaning of the skulls, and embrace the skulls and become one with the skull or the symbolism, and allow my mind to be purified from all the nonsense associated with the skull, anything that may be holding me back from going deeper into myself because some type of fear comes up. So, if I was to sum it up, symbolism, symbolism, symbolism. Because that's all I've really been doing is studying symbolism. Because through the study of symbolism, you understand all cultures of the world. You can have a glimpse. Symbols give you a glimpse of the whole world. Just look at any tradition, any spiritual system, they all have symbols. Why? And all of those symbols connect you to aspects within yourself. And every tradition has symbolism. So when you study the symbolism of all these traditions, not only are you learning history, not only are you learning culture, but you're learning the initiation in the dark arts as well, because you know how to use it now. You understand how the mind works. Universal law, the first law, the law of mentalism, everything is mental. So just that one law alone, you don't even got to deal with the other laws. You understand that everything is mental, you become a mastermind, or you seek to master your mind. That becomes your priority. It's the mastery of your own mind, because the mastery of your own mind allows you to do amazing things that people consider to be miracles. So when we think about figures like Jesus, black, white, whatever, he was a master of his mind. He was an initiate into an occult philosophy. Some people say Jesus studied in Egypt, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jesus was a child, and his childhood and his young adulthood was taken out of the Bible, and you come back to the Bible and he's like 33 years old. He's like already in his 30s. Nobody know what he was doing from a teenager in his 20s, right? Although, you can maybe veer into Gnosticism, but essentially what they say is he studied in Egypt. That's where he learned what he learned. It's not that he was just a magical person and he was just blessed with the gift. He had to cultivate the gift in Egypt. So then he took what he learned in Egypt and he took it to the streets, the same way what we do now, right? Those of us who are initiated, whether through self-initiation or through initiation of some other system, we take the information. We take the information and we utilize it to our benefit. So in today's times, now we don't have to initiate ourselves in an Egyptian temple and do what they did in the past. We can create our own initiations. And through you creating your own initiation, studying the symbolism and practicing with the symbolism, detoxing your mind from the negativity of the symbolism. And that's why I speak so much about Satan and the devil as a detox for those of us who have been programmed to fear this image and have no true understanding of this image. So when I speak about it, it's a purification of the mind, which allows you to go deeper into it, which is only a deeper aspect of yourself, your primitive mind, your root chakra, again, which is why, you know, you see all this black. This is the energy of Saturn. So I'll tell you about my experiences. I'm speaking about myself. I'll speak about this briefly. Because what I did was, what's the point of this? The point is, you know, this goes all the way back, you know, to, you know, rock music, and even before that, right? So I wanted to have my own experience. I'm like, why did rock stars paint their fingernails black? I didn't know. Now, of course, I could have did my little Google search and figured it out, but I wanted to have my own experience. So I'm like, okay, let me paint my shits black and let me see what happens. What I noticed is there would be people, like hyper masculine men, they would not look me in my eyes. They're like, look, you know, they like, oh, he's gay, he's this, is whatever's in their mind does not allow them to connect with me on a human level. But at the same time, I'm like, these are people that I don't care to speak to anyway. So what I realized was, this is a shield for motherfuckers who don't need to be fucking with you anyway. This keeps them away. So anybody who don't have your best interests at heart anyway, this keeps them away from shore, for sure. Because they see you with these motherfucking black fingernails, especially being a man. You know what I mean? They see you with these black, they're like, I don't want nothing to do with that. So it keeps them away, which that's what it's supposed to do. It acts as a shield for you. However, you gotta detox your mind. Like, oh, this is gonna make people look at me in a certain way and all that. This is why I did it. And this is why, you know, I've been doing it for the last like week and a half, however long. And that's why I didn't even want to get on camera with it, because it's not a gimmick. So I wasn't about to get on camera, hey, look at me, look at this. I wasn't even about to do all that. I'm like, let me have my own internal experience and see what happens with me. And the last thing was, it's like I was able to look at my nails and see images by reflecting my nails in the light. I'm just looking at the nails. I guess this is what women do anyway. I don't fucking know. So I still got to learn how to do all this shit. But I'm able to, like, gazing into a crystal ball, and I'm able to look into the nails, and it reflects the light, and I'm able to see images. So I'm like, not only is this a tool for divination, it's also a shield. Never would have known. Why? Because again, most people's like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm a man. I'm not painting my fingernails no fucking color. If any color is fucking clear, which I perfectly understand, because I thought the same way for majority of my life. That's why you never just fucking saw me with this. But because I am allowing myself to explore spiritually and not be so caught up with my ego and what people think and what people may assume. Let me just have my own personal experience and come to my own conclusion and see and go from there. Let me leave my ego alone. You know, keep that shit at the door. Let me explore, on a soul level, let me explore on a soul level. And that's all it is. So that's my personal experience, and that's also to answer the question about, you know, summing up, you know, the occult, practicing it for 10 years. It takes you all around the world. That's what it's supposed to do. And that's why you study. It will take you all around the world. You will learn all cultures of the world. When you learn the culture, you learn the deities, you learn the traditions, you learn how the people operate, you learn the history. This is essentially you studying the whole world through the symbolism. This makes you universal in your thinking, because now you know how Buddhists think and how they deal with issues. You know how the Hindus think and how they deal with issues. You know how the occultists work and how they deal with issues, so on and so forth. And once you see how everybody deals with issues and how they conduct themselves, and you have a universal map all in your mind, you may take notes, but these are just things you remember mentally. You remember these symbolism. You can identify a symbol instantly when you study. Oh, okay, that's that. From that culture, from that time period, and it has that energy, and this is what it symbolizes. There's symbolism everywhere. The point is, we just don't know the meanings because we may not be as studied as we should be. But, you know, when you study, you become universal. And when you become universal, you are able to see things exactly for how they are. And when you are able to see things for exactly how they are, you cannot be deceived. And when you cannot be deceived and you cannot be manipulated, what does this make you? A master of your mind, because you are free from distraction and you are free from illusion. And that's what it's all about, from my perspective. So, all right. What tools do I recommend grabbing during this time? I got a score last week in black candles. Just anything that represents anything demonic, devilish, satanic, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, get it. So when you're looking at these symbols, anything that you have a negative response to, get that. Anything that makes you respond, get that. It may be a rose, it may be a skull, it may be an octopus, you know, that Cthulhu energy. Right? Black octopus, whatever. Whatever triggers you, you want to know why it triggers you. And that's why you study symbols. What is this symbol? Where does this symbol come from? What does it mean? What does it represent in today's times? Right? So anything that affects you, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, or anything that you are super drawn to, either you're super drawn to it or you're drawn away from it. Either one, get both of them. Anything that takes you deeper into yourself so that you can explore gracefully and rid yourself of anything that you may be fearful of on a subconscious level. All right, here we go. Yes, please retouch on the Baphomet. Yeah, I can do a whole video on that. That's no problem. But you see, I got to do it in levels. You know, I gotta do in levels. That's just the way the mind works, you know. Because if I was just coming with all this information all at the same time, it would be too overwhelming. So I just got to give little bits and pieces every now and then, just so people can catch up, you know. So let us continue here. All right. What do you think about Freemasonry? I feel like it's hijacked ancient systems. Yeah, because the Freemasons, see, you can't study Baphomet without studying Freemasonry, because the Freemasons were accused of worshiping the Baphomet. So I'll say this one thing, then I'll move on, because again, I can dedicate a whole video to it, but I just will say this one thing about Freemasonry since it was presented. Since the Freemasons were accused of worshiping the Baphomet, basically what happened was, this is, the spirit told me this, right? The spirit told me this. So what happened is, Baphomet is a corruption of Muhammad that the Muslims worship. No, the Muslims don't worship Muhammad, but Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. So Baphomet is a corruption of Muhammad, because that's what they thought the Muslims were saying. When they were saying Muhammad, they thought they were saying Baphomet. So therefore, the Christians associated Baphomet with Islam. So with the Knights Templar, the deeper initiates, not the ones on the surface, the deeper initiates, they understood that, and they understood, okay, they were amongst Muslims, Moors. Well, I just say Moors because you had Christian Moors, you had Muslim Moors, Hebrew Moors, Israelite Moors. You had any type of philosophy that you can think of. There was a Moor, you know, that had that knowledge. So the Knights Templar had access to these Moors or these Muslims, and these Muslims were studying Sufism, which is esoteric or occult Islam, that the average Muslims out here know nothing about. So they implemented Sufism into their teachings, the Knights Templar. And those Sufi concepts are represented in the image of the Baphomet. So not only is it Christianity, but it's also Sufism, or not only is it, let me not even say Christianity, not only is it Gnosticism, which is esoteric Christianity, it is also Sufism, esoteric Islam. And I'll leave it there, you know, because that alone can give you understanding of who the Knights Templar who were initiates of the ancient mystery schools. So you're right about that. They studied Sufism as well as Gnosticism, which is why they were able to raise up to such heights of power. Sufism and Gnosticism gave them the ability to do what they did, or the devil. The devil gave them that power, or the Baphomet. Them studying the imagery and them worshiping that imagery as their God. They committed themselves to deep study of that image. Because through deep contemplation and meditation of that image, it will reveal to you more secrets that are not apparent on the surface. Like if you just meditate, burn the image of the Baphomet in your mind so that when you close your eyes, you can see it vividly and clearly. And meditate on the image. The mental image, not a physical image, the mental image, because now you're working your mind. You're taking this step further. You burn the image into the mind, and you study the image, and it will come to life. It can speak to you. It can speak to you utilizing telepathy. It may actually animate itself. You know, everybody's different. Everybody's on different levels. So how it interacts with you, you will have to do your own self-experimentation. So that's why that's such an important symbol, and why the Knights Templar were such influential group on a occult level as well as a physical level, right? You know, they were all about economics. They specialize in economics, mathematics. And what does mathematics link with? Islam, Saturn, Satan. So you got a problem with that, you got to take it up with the spirit, because that's just what it is, you know. And I'm just able to speak about it unbiasedly. You know, it doesn't matter to me, because I understand that everything is built off of dark magic, off of black magic. Like every business is started from crack money, drug money. Like once you know the reality of this world, it doesn't bother you. So you're not walking around looking for world peace, because we could have it if we truly wanted it. We just don't truly want it. You know, we have these concepts in our mind, and the only reason that they don't flourish is because we say one thing and mean something else. And I'm saying we as a collective, not just the Illuminati or society. I'm including everybody. We all play a part. You know, whether it's the unification of the people or the separation of the people. And there will always be polarity. That's another universal law, polarity. So you're going to always have people who want peace, then you're going to always have people that want war. That's just the dynamics of the world we live in. That's why the study of the universal laws are so important, just to give you an understanding of the reality that you live in. Once you have an understanding of the reality you live in, you stop having all these wishful thoughts of what could be, what should be, what would be, and you just deal strictly with reality. And when you deal strictly with reality, you start to see things from an unbiased perspective, and you're just more focused on what works and what doesn't work. And I guarantee the devil works. And you know, what do I call it? I have a specific name for this. The devil's work. When you do the devil's work, you get results. And that's basically what the streets is all about. Just doing the devil's work. Take it how you will. Do I think I'll try black eyeliner? Why not? You know, why not? Oh, that's what I didn't speak about that. Because I spoke about the men. So all these hyper masculine men, they would not look at me in the eye for whatever their preconceived notions was. And I didn't care to look in their eye either. But I can notice that they were looking like, you know, they were affected by these fingernails. Even though they didn't speak, and even though they didn't connect eyes, I can tell. You know, when you become more spiritual as a male, you become more spiritual. You can detect things like a woman can. A woman can detect things, you know, more subtle things. Women can detect subtle things. And as men, we're more direct, and we're looking at curves and ass and titties. Women are looking at fingernails, eyeliner. You know, women are just, you know, all the shit that we just like, oh, your face looks good. Women are looking at what type of makeup, what skin tone is that. Like they're just, their mind is just so much more intricate. you know. So what I noticed with the women though, and this is what I want to speak on, what I notice about women, because like I said, I'm going everywhere with these motherfuckers on. So what I notice about the women is there's been no negative response from women, which was surprising to me, because I was thinking coming into it, like, you know, these women is gonna be, you know, looking at me crazy. They gonna, you know, but that's not the fucking case. I have not gotten no negative reactions from women. It's like they're actually more drawn. It's weird. It's you know, it mind fucks you. It's definitely a mind fuck. So I said I was prepared to deal with it all. I was prepared to deal with motherfuckers, you know, thinking, you know, oh, you a devil, Satan is. I was ready for it all. And when the only thing that happened is just the dudes that I don't care to speak to anyway avoided me, and the women actually were a lot more interactive than usual. Because I guess I mean, how many black dudes do you see with black nails? It just may have not been something they ever seen before. So they reacted. Like, it wasn't like, oh, what the fuck? It's like, oh, it's more of a curiosity. It was more of a curiosity. So there's been no negative reaction from women, which again was alarming to me, which was surprising to me. So I wasn't expecting that. But of course, you know, I definitely was expecting the dudes, like, whatever. But, who cares what they think anyway? But anyway, all right, where we at? I want to try this eyeliner from India. It's supposed to help open your mind's eye. Well, definitely. You know, do your thing. And that's what I'm all about. Experiment. Whatever. If your soul is telling you to do it, then do it. You know, if your heart is telling you to do it, then do it. You know what I mean? Get that experience, because it may be something for you. Like, for example, like I said, the experience I done been having with these black fingernails. I'm like, yeah, maybe this is just something I need to implement and make a part of my style, just to distinguish me from other types of dudes. Not just that, but it's just a more bold way of distinguishing myself from, you know. So now I don't have to open my mouth and show and prove how spiritually minded I am. I can just fucking paint my fucking nails, which already lets motherfucker know, like, yo, this motherfucker is on some different shit, positive or negative, but it's different. And to me, that's all. I'm good with that. Just knowing I'm not like that. I'm like this. But if you really want to know what that's about, then you gotta, you know, open yourself up. You know, exercise that curiosity. Anyway. Can you do an update on your experience with Ishu? Yeah, I was just speaking about that earlier today. Like, it's a life-changing experience. It's a life-changing experience. It's unlike anything else. Like, just being at Devil's Gate, just being at that location is the energy that I've never felt nowhere else. It's unlike any other power. But that's what it does represent. It represents power. So when you go there, and I encourage everybody to travel if you are on the West Coast, specifically if you in California, you know, definitely visit that place and feel for yourself. Feel the energy for yourself and have your own experience. And it definitely will, you know, it's a life-changing experience, especially if you go into the actual tunnel. You know, like, go in a tunnel and that, you know, go deep into those crevices. Life-changing experience, you know, and it's because you start to understand and interact with the devilish, demonic energies. Like, for all the people who like, oh, demons, no, you feel them. See, that's the difference. You feel them. Why? Because they are magnetized to that area. So you feel them amongst you. Like, it's like motherfuckers is looking at you and shit. Like, you know, like, what's up, nigga? You know, you get that feeling, like, you know, they you know, I say they're niggas. They're not civilized. They're not ethical. They cussing, fucking. They doing all this earthly shit. But that's what they supposed to do. That's what a demon is. A demon is bound to this earth because they still have desires, and they work their desires through you. And another way to say that is, so let's just say you're working with particular spirits and you are negotiating with these spirits, and these spirits say, okay, we're going to send you an avatar and we want you to have sex with this person. You may not be attracted to this person, but it's this person you need to fuse energy wise with this person to unlock certain chambers within yourself. And on the back end of it, we will feed off of the energy, all the extra energy. We will feed off of it. And that's just how the shit fucking goes. You know what I mean? Whether people understand that shit or not. It's all about working with the spirits. Why? Because they are the ones with the wisdom. They are the ones with the wisdom. They've been here. They already know how shit works. They can teach you how to build. They can teach you how to destroy. They can teach you how to be successful. They can teach you how to get your money up. They can teach you anything that deals with the earth. They already know these things. An angel may not be able to tell you that. Why? Because they're not earthbound. They're on their celestial path. So working with angels may not be the best when we're talking about earth magic. So anything that deals with the earth, because remember, the spirits are in the earth. When you die, where do you go? You're in the earth, not up here. That's why it's not about ascension. It's about your roots. The root chakra, Satan. What it's all about, connecting with your roots. Fuck ascension, because if you're not grounded, you start to wander and float everywhere without consistency. So before you ascend, you need to root yourself. Because if you're not rooted, then you will be taken advantage of. But if you are rooted, you will be protected. That's what the root chakra is all about. Saturn is all about protection and building for yourself, independence, self-sufficiency, all the things earthly that we all desire, just to exist in this earthly plane. You got to make money for yourself, got to be self-sustaining, got to be independent. All the things that we all desire anyway, you have to get it from the spirits, but the earthbound spirits. And in return, because remember, whenever you're dealing with the devil's always negotiating. It's all about negotiation. If you can come to a deal, if you become a deal maker, then you can get anything you want. It's all about setting the deal up. So for example, again, you may work with a particular spirit, that needs some sex energy. And it's going to send somebody at you and let you know who's who. Through omens, through spiritual omens. That's another reason why you study symbolism, so that you can detect omens. And omens can guide you to where you need to be. This is how they did it in the ancient times. They didn't have Google Maps and all these things, all this technology we have. They had to rely on their internal technology, which is being able to get to places by decoding the spiritual omens amongst you. You are able to look at the symbolism, and you may hear something and you're like, okay, what's over there? Something may spark your interest and you go over this way. But to be able to detect it is the true science. To be able to navigate this earth and not have a phone in your pocket. Because you already know that internal navigation, that internal compass, you activate your internal compass. But you see, we can go all over the place, at this point. So I'm just giving y'all some quick excerpts. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Because this is all the stuff that I've been dealing with lately. Like all this information that I'm revealing now is coming directly from the spirit. And that's just to say, I'm just conveying it the way it was told to me, and about whether I like it or dislike it, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? Anyway, where we at? What's up, Bianca? What's up, Key Love? Last month I had a dream that Trump held a ritualistic ceremony with 2 members of the White Templars. The White Templar Knights. I thought they were part of the KKK. Yeah, you see. Yeah, Donald Trump is a very, very interesting character because of what he represents. Fuck his personality, because everybody's caught up with his personality and the shit that comes out of his mouth. But if you're able to get past that and you look at what he symbolizes, what does he symbolize? You may need to meditate or contemplate for a little while to get past the dynamics that the media is constantly spewing in your face. But what does he represent? Because once you discover what he represents, and this was revealed to me as well, I'm like, oh, this is what he represents. Like I know the deity he represents. Most people probably do anyway. But I'll tell you, he represents Set. Because if you didn't know, and I plan to do an exclusive video about this, about Set. I'm gonna call it Set the Elder God. I'm gonna do that for the members on the website, you know, coming up this week. You know, I'm just gonna dig just deep into the essence of Satan, but just briefly here. Because when I was working with the energy of Satan, this motherfucker came through. This motherfucker represented Donald Trump. Because I'll tell you the actual experience. I'm working with the deity. Because the way I work with deities, I'm more so in bulk. Like I may smoke me a little blunt, chant the name, chant a mantra, you know, tap my fingers to the planetary energies. You know, everybody has their own way of connecting. But when I was connecting, you know, with the deity, Donald Trump, the image of Donald Trump just kept coming in my mind. Then, you know, I was watching a YouTube video. Then the ad, as I was watching this video, the ad that popped up was an ad of Donald Trump. As I literally had this man's image in my mind simultaneously. It was synchronistic. At that point, I realized, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker is an avatar of an ancient deity, the elder deities, the primordial deities, not the Olympians, not the good guys, not the heavenly bodies, but the earth-bound spirits. And that's why motherfuckers just hate this dude, just like they hate Satan, just like they hate Set. But Set has a whole different history that we're not aware of. We just know Set from cutting up Osiris's body. But Set has multiple mythologies that don't have anything to do with that. Because remember, Set was also the guardian for Ra when he descended into the underworld. Set would guard Ra against Apep, which was the giant serpent, which represents chaos and evil. Set was Ra's guardian. So the same dude that killed his brother is Ra's guardian. This is why we have to understand history from a deeper perspective, because all these things have different origins. You may have a myth that originated in the 2nd dynasty. You had another myth that originated in the 13th dynasty. And the one that originated in the 13th dynasty, let's just say that was the one that people chose to make popular. So you don't know anything about the one that originated in the 8th dynasty, because that one became unpopular and it pretty much went to sleep. But nonetheless, there's more origins. That's why all of these deities have multiple origins to represent multiple time periods. But I'll leave it at that. Again, I'm gonna dedicate a whole video for the members on the website, you know, sometime this weekend, you know, if I can get around to it. So, you know, y'all have that treat in a couple of days. But just to briefly touch on it, just to let y'all know how serious and how deep this shit is, if y'all didn't know already. All right, I've been really attached to the octopus and jellyfish. And then those are the symbols that you need to work with, you know. And that's what I mean. So anything that you're already drawn to, just amplify it. All right. Prince had the nails and the makeup, and the girls were obsessed with him. And I understand why that is now. Because yes, we've all seen it. We've all seen it. But I couldn't say that I understood it from an internal perspective. But I understand now, because I went through the experience. I'm like, oh, like this actually does not turn women off at all. Like this makes them more curious. I'm like, hey, you got to be careful with this, but you got to get past the ego. Because again, most dudes ain't. Prince got past the ego, and he tapped into an energy. What energy? You know, you can say Akhenaten, right? We ain't even gonna go into his history. That's a whole nother video. I'm just giving y'all a little reference points for the true students. I'm giving y'all what to reference, so you don't have to wait for me to make another video. You can find it on your own. Otherwise, you know, Let me see. So the demonic energy you experienced was euphoric. I wouldn't say it was euphoric. It's more so power. You feel power and true power. And that's all you need, because if you can download how power feels, all you have to do is connect with the feeling after that, and it becomes a reality. Again, it's just another revelation from the spirit. Like power. Like if you go to Devil's Gate, you will past midnight, between 12 and 4, or any place that's haunted or satanic or demonic, any place you ain't supposed to be, right? And yes, you're not even supposed to be there. You're technically trespassing when you go to Devil's Gate, technically. So, but you got to move like a ninja. And that's what it's all about for me, is just moving like a ninja. Like, are you going to have the experience, or are you not going to have the experience? Are you more afraid of what a police officer may do to you, or are you willing to take the consequences that come with that? Because if you are willing to pay the cost to be the boss, as they say, if you're willing to put in your dues, if you're willing to pay your dues, the spirits look at you gracefully. And that's what people don't realize. The spirits look at you gracefully when you are paying your dues or doing the devil's work. When you are putting in that work, they respect that. Because everybody else is just coming to them, petitioning them for this, for that, for this. Okay, I need this, I need that. But those type of people get caught into a loophole, because every time you need something, now you're going to them. And you more so become their slave, because you don't have any knowledge, wisdom, or understanding. You just want a quick money flip. Like, I need money, and so I'm going to summon you. Instead of give me the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to create my own wealth, so I don't have to leech off of your energy. That's the goal. But most people not understanding that, because they just want quick results. And they're not willing to put in, those 7 to 10 years of just pure hardcore study. Then, these are the people that you hear about having terrible experiences. Because if you analyze why they even petitioned a demon or a dark spirit or the devil, it was vanity. They weren't doing it for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. They were doing it for vanity purposes or vanity reasons. And that's why they had a negative experience. Why? Because you can't fool demons. You can't fool. They know what's in your heart. See, motherfuckers are just they're so corrupt, because they have to fool people all day, every day. And they take that same mentality into working with spirit, and the spirit can clearly see, like, oh, this motherfucker ain't. I hear what's coming out their mouth, but their heart speaks differently. They speak to the heart. So when the heart speaks differently than the brain, then they can manipulate that. That's the true definition of a trickster spirit. A trickster spirit only tricks you when you are split. When your mind is saying one thing and your heart is saying something else. So the trickster can play on that separation that's already within you. They don't create the separation. The separation is already there. So they can play on it. But if you know exactly what you're doing, then there's no need for deception. There's no need to be manipulated. And they don't even come at you with that energy once they see your power level. If your power level is over 9,000, then they will respect you. And yes, that's a Dragon Ball Z quote. But that's just to get the point. Once your power level exceeds a certain level, then they don't play with you like that, because you have been putting in work, so they know who you are and what you're about, and you got a fucking track record to prove that. It may not even be a physical track record, just what the works that you know in your heart. So if they are observing and analyzing your heart, they know what you've done and what you have not done, what you will do and what you will not do. Fuck what you're saying. And again, because most people are just so split and corrupt in their own minds and hearts and all that, this is why they have negative experiences, because they're not single-minded in their practice and their focus. So that's what that. So you will have a negative experience if you don't have a firm foundation and root in who and what you are and what you are capable of and how to utilize your power. Because the only thing that's shown at Devil's Gate is your power. It's just showing you your own potential. It's you, like you're looking and feeling yourself. Just the darker aspects, the primitive aspects of yourself. Not the good side, the dark side. And the dark side is where the power is. The point is not to be corrupted by that power in your heart, not in your deed. See, there's a difference. And again, all this is coming from spirit. I ain't even planning on making this video this fucking long, but y'all already know. I'm just getting out all this information briefly. I'm just hitting on things and going to something else, hitting on things, going to something else. But the purpose is here. The purpose is because you can't lie to spirits, and you still have people lying to fucking spirits, which doesn't even make sense to me. They will play because you're not being honest with them, and you're not being honest with yourself, and that's what leads to destruction. But when you are honest, when you are pure of heart, and that's what and this is what I'm getting at. You have to be pure of heart. But what does that mean? Being pure of heart doesn't mean that you don't do anything wrong. Being pure of heart is, regardless of what you do, it does not corrupt your heart. That's what it means. So you can be out here doing the most devilish, demonic shit ever. But as long as you remain pure in your heart, that's what matters. So even if you're doing dangerous things with your deeds are dangerous, your deeds are this or that way. That's why you can never judge a person off of, but that's what everybody says, right? You got to judge a person off their actions. But you can't really judge off of actions because you don't really know what a person's motivation is. Because if you judge off of action and not have an understanding of why they did what they did, that's not enough information. You're just looking at, okay, well, that person just punched that lady in the face. Not knowing that lady might just tried to kill that man. But you didn't see that part. You just saw, let's just say, a lady getting punched by a man and you in your feelings. But when you start to really see what's going on, like, oh, that old lady was the predator, not the man that punched her. She was a predator, but we have been accustomed to, like, not even think like that. When you see a man and a woman arguing, you automatically assume that the man is doing something wrong, but that just may not even be the case. But that's the way we are wired and programmed to assume. You walk past and you see a woman crying, you want to ask what's wrong. You walk past and see a man crying, it's kind of weird. The only person that will really ask that man what's wrong is probably a child. But grown-ass men and women probably don't even want to hear what's going on. And trust me, this is just a reality, and I see it. Why? Because when I was in these streets amongst the devils and the demons, motherfuckers was not caring about whether I lived or died. Nor do they care about anybody else who lives or dies. They care about their family. They're all about feeding their family. But outside of that, they're not concerned with you if you live or die, if you eat or not eat. But there's always the ones who can see your spirit, who can read your heart, the spirit. The spirit is the one who gives you that dollar, who gives you that promotion. It's like the spirit is what gives you your blessings through other people, utilizing them as avatars. But maybe that's a little bit too, far out. But it is what it is. I'm just revealing the things that I've been working on the past week and a half. I just been chilling, just receiving information, and this is just, a little tiny bit. Like I got pages of pages of pages. But again, I'm gonna reserve that, mostly for the website. But we're gonna still make this shit happen here too. The octopus is Cthulhu, absolutely. There you go. Yeah, let me see. What's up, Brianna? So, unless anybody has any questions, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. Let's see. Afropic says she called the KKK. I didn't know they had a number. But if y'all really want to get into that shit, y'all, we can go there. Y'all want to talk about fucking slavery and the history of the Ku Klux Klan and all that shit. Oh, y'all, if y'all want to go there, we can go there. Oh, but it's gonna get real wicked. But anyway, what's up, Derpy MC Fly? What's up, Gwen? You like the new look? You're emitting the aura of a sage. See, I respect that. I respect that because that's the whole purpose. You know, just for me to reflect who and what I am. You know what I mean? Again, not something that I'm not. Just for me to reflect who and what I already am. And this is definitely, you know, symbolic. So that's why you look at the black nails as a symbol, not the actual black nails and the nail polish. Look at it as a symbol. And then you can start to understand why people do what they do based off of the symbolism. All right, where we at with it? What do you think of the zombies that walk with Baron Sami? They just represent the underworld. It represents necromancy and sorcery. Because the zombies, what is a zombie? A zombie is, you can say, a dead body that has been reanimated or given life again, the undead, right? So when you see spirits with zombies or immortals, you know, anything that represents that type of underworld energy, it represents the energy of the Titans or the energy of the primitive or primordial deities. So Baron Sami representing, you know, the dead. He teaches the arts of necromancy and sorcery so that you can command the dead. But again, nobody's talking about this because motherfuckers ain't practicing this shit. And that's why I don't really speak as much no more, because I'm just too busy in practice. So when I do speak, my words are meaningful because they are based off of actual experience, not off of a book I read or what somebody else said. And that's which takes time. It takes time to have your own experience. It takes time to gather up your own experience. It takes time to do experimentation and to get results and to develop your own understanding. So the spirit can communicate with you directly. That takes time. And you know, everybody has the time, but everybody doesn't have the dedication. Everybody has the time, but everybody doesn't have the dedication. Why? Because it's something internal. When you were just strictly, and this is what the Emerald Tablets of Thoth said and everything, seek nothing but wisdom, and you will be granted everything. If you don't understand that one little concept, you're going to be navigating this world never ending. Because if you seek wisdom, wisdom will show you how to do whatever it is that you desire, instead of you trying to have the direct experience in the sense of you're thinking like, let me put this properly. When you have an understanding of what you're doing, and you're not just going off of what a book says, you know what you're doing. For example, let me see if I can use something here as an example. Let me see. I'm just going to show this because this is just what, in my immediate vicinity, this is a symbol. All right, we ain't got to go into what the symbol is. But that symbol, by me knowing what that symbol is and what it does, that's what activates the symbol. Because I know what it is and what it does. So I have enchanted that symbol. Why? Because I utilized my own hand and I drew the symbol and I charged it. So I know its purpose and its function. So when that energy evoke itself and expresses itself through another vessel other than myself, I know how to identify it. Most people don't even know how to identify it when they're talking to a human being or a spirit, utilizing that human as a vessel. They don't even know the difference. because it ain't something that you're going to be able to tell with your physical eye. Your third eye will be able to distinguish, but the physical eye is to see another human being or another being. But when fucking plants and trees start talking to you, then, you know, it starts to break up what you think reality really is. Like, oh, I can communicate with trees, I can communicate with plants. We all know that trees and plants are living, but to actually have conversations, it's a complete mind fuck, but it's the reality of where we are. Truth is stranger than fiction. That's why we don't have to deal in fiction. We can just strictly deal in truth and go further than fiction will ever take you. Because all fiction is based on truth. Even if it's fiction, it's still based on something real. Harry Potter, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, all these anime, all these things, although they are creations, they still represent something real. All right. So let me finish up these questions. Let me see. Yes, I'm in Virginia, so I want to know how to tap into the energy. Definitely, when I was in Virginia, I was seeing skulls everywhere. I think where was I? I believe I was in Richmond. I was just studying the graffiti, and I was seeing skulls all over the place. I'm like, man, this is a very weird energy, you know. But I did connect with the spirit of the city, you know, when I was there, you know, which was definitely a very intimate experience. But that's just what the fuck I do, you know. I always want to connect with the spirit of the city, because that's a motherfucker who knows what's going on. Every city has a consciousness beyond the people. So you can tap into the consciousness. I speak about this all the time anyway. You can tap into that consciousness and you can have a conversation with it. Like, okay, well, how do you do this? How do you do that? The city already knows. The spirit already knows. That's why the spirit becomes your best friend, and you really start relying on books and other people. Once you get past a certain level, you just rely directly on experience. Because you have put in the work to have the experience. You put in the work to be able to go to the astral plane and to be able to stand between both worlds and have deities connect with you. You know, you open up those veils when you put that work in, and you don't have to rely on other people, because you can have the direct experience. All right, what we got with it? If the 72 Goetia are a part of you, is there even a point of making a pact? Making a pact is just you bringing that energy that is already you to the surface and keeping it there. That's all it is. You bring the energy to the surface and you keep it there. That's all it is. That's all it means when you make pacts with demons. It's just you are really bringing up energies that are deeply hidden within your subconscious mind, and you are choosing to make that energy more prominent in your life. Now, how that energy manifests will be determined on what spirit or what chamber of the mind that you choose to access. But they even show that in Yu-Gi-Oh. And again, most people probably don't know it intricately, but I know it intricately. You know, even in Yu-Gi-Oh, the Pharaoh, you had Yugi, you had Yu-Gi-Oh, basically, or Yami. You had the human being, then you had the ancient spirit, right? And how did Yugi unlock this ancient spirit? He put together a millennium puzzle. He solved a puzzle that had not been solved for the last 5,000 years. And when he solved that puzzle, the spirit of that ancient soul was infused with his spirit. He became that ancient spirit. And that ancient spirit was the master of games. So he had 5,000 years of experience of, dueling, duel monsters. So he was the best. Not because he said so, but because he had the most experience from 5,000 years ago when it was pure, when duel monsters was real. And again, I'm just giving this example because it was an example. So you have Yugi, you have the spirit of the Pharaoh. Yugi, the spirit of the Pharaoh, Yami. Yami comes from a time, you can say Egypt time, where duel monsters was real. Motherfuckers was actually summoning real duel monsters, necromancy and sorcery. He comes from that time. So now that it has been reduced to just a playing card game, He has mastery over that shit. Because he's like, yo, I was doing this shit when motherfuckers really summoning demons and zombies out of the ground. I was still the nigga back then. So these little playing cards ain't nothing. And that's also why they had to go to the shadow realm. Whenever Yugi, had to go up against, like Pegasus, anybody with a millennium, anybody else who had a millennium item, it was like 7 or 8 of them, I'm not sure what the exact number. You had, he had the duel in the shadow realm. For those who understand the show, you understand the shadow realm. If you lose in the shadow realm, you lose your soul. So Yugi, the spirit of the Pharaoh, had to constantly, like literally every battle that he was faced with, he couldn't lose. He was either going to lose his soul, he was going to lose, something, he was going to suffer a major loss that he literally could not lose. So this is just a play on real shit. So that's why I'm using a fictional cartoon that's conveying reality just in a distorted way to make it creative, but it still is based in reality. And that's why I use that example. It's based in reality, although it's a fictional story. We all have the spirit of a pharaoh within us. That's why the only thing we are supposed to be doing is knowing thyself. It don't say man, woman, know the world. Man, woman, love your parents. Man, woman, be a good citizen. It says man, woman, know who you are. Unlock that ancient pharaoh within yourself. And that millennium puzzle that you're piecing together is life, navigating through the maze of life. So it's like it's a living millennium puzzle. Life is the millennium puzzle that you're attempting to piece together so that you can unlock deeper chambers of the mind, that ancient spirit or that soul that's already within you. And it is through that soul it's able to navigate you to places that you never would have gone. So by Yugi unlocking the spirit of that pharaoh, he was able to go to places he never would have gone, just having a human experience. He unlocked the spiritual experience, and that's what happens when you unlock the spiritual experience. You sort of have experiences that other people just don't have. Other people may feel as miraculous, or you can go through super hardship and recover from it. The average person is like, I don't even know how they recovered from that. Motherfucker like, yo, how did you even survive in the fucking streets? And, anyway, y'all get the point. So even if you never even watched the Yu-Gi-Oh, at least hopefully you can understand the analogy here, even if you are not familiar with the cartoon. All right. Where we at? I watched a video with Bobby Hemmett saying too much credit was given to Aleister Crowley. He didn't really tap into true demonic energy. Yeah, that's facts. Because Aleister Crowley, see, this is what happened. Let me use the Batman movie, the Dark Knight. You had 3 parts of the Dark Knight, and I'm going to use this to explain the point. You had on the first Dark Knight movie, who was the enemy? I believe his name was Ra Ghul or something. He was basically a white man who had mastered the Asian martial arts. So pretty much you can say he was like an Aleister Crowley who went to the East and learned the tradition and the culture, and he manipulated manipulated it. Well, no, I'm not going to consider him an Aleister Crowley, but let me explain this point. So the first movie, the villain was, you can say, the white man who mastered the dark arts, you can say. The second movie, you had the Joker. The Joker was an agent of chaos. So you can say the Joker was a white man who had the spirit of a black man inside of him. Which you can say, this is what Aleister Crowley did, all occultists in the 19th century, which is why I emphasize study the 19th century, because I guarantee that's the source of everything that you study. It comes from somebody from the 19th century, whether it's Aleister Crowley, whether it's Helena Blavatsky, whether it's Elijah Muhammad, whether anything, Gnosticism, Sufism, all that is centralized in the 19th century. But getting back to the Batman movie, the second movie, The Joker, was a white man with the spirit of a black man, or demonic energy. Remember, we are the Satans of this planet. So the third movie was Bane, who was symbolic of the black man, and he knows who he is, or he awakened that ancient pharaoh. In the third movie, the Dark Knight Rises, you say it was symbolic of a black man who had that ancient pharaoh energy unlocked. Of course, they're not going to show the actual black man. We don't got to get caught up with the color, just the example. That's why Bane was able to do more than Ra Ghul or the Joker. Bane literally took over the whole fucking city. Why? Because he was tapping into that real dark shit that was previously untapped. And remember, Batman had to rise up from hell. Remember, he got locked. He had to go into that the well that all the demons was, right? Remember, Bane broke his back during a movie. If you saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Bane broke his back, and he put him in the depths of hell with all the demons. And the only way for Batman to escape was, and the only way Batman could escape, he had to master the hellish realms. He had to master the hellish realms, Earth. It's all symbolic. So he had to rise up from the hellish realms in order to defeat Bane. But the true enemy was the woman. It wasn't even Bane. It was the woman. She was the one. She was the mastermind. Or who? The Great Mother. Remember, you have Set, then you got the Great Mother. Those are the first two deities. It's Set and his mother, who is a hippopotamus god or goddess. She's a hippopotamus goddess, and she gave birth to Set, her first son. And that's how all the other deities come after that. So you can say Bane was Set and the Great Mother was the woman. I'm not sure what her name is, but for those who saw the movie, y'all know what I'm talking about. So to answer the question, when they say Aleister Crowley really didn't tap into anything, because he was an agent of chaos, because his most profound work was the Book of the Law, which was a channel from a wasp, which he identified himself as a black man. He said that himself in his own writings, in his own journal, who it was. And he looks like a Sufi. He looks like a Muslim. So you can say, so Aleister Crowley didn't necessarily do anything. He just tapped into the spirits of the people who were actually putting in the work. And a lot of people in today's time do the same thing. So they may not have the power, but they're tapped into the person that does. So Aleister Crowley, you can say, didn't really have any power himself, but he tapped into a spirit of somebody who did possess power. So he himself may have been weak, but he tapped into those who were strong. And that's what it's all about anyway, you know, so that you can discover your own strength from within. All right, what we at? We at 9%. Do you have any information about breathing practices? It all depends on what you're trying to do, you know. But definitely slowing down your breath to 4 breaths a minute changes your life. And I'll just give you that one little piece. If you can get yourself down to breathing 4 full breaths in a whole 60 seconds, you know, you on the right way. We should talk about slavery. Y'all really want to talk about that? All right. But I'll do it the next video because I only have 8%. But yeah, we can get deep into the slavery and just the alchemy associated with that. And, you know, it's not gonna be lighthearted. You know, we can be as detailed as possible, but that, you know, that'll be for another time. We won't do that right now. All right. What kind of rituals is good for this time? Any ritual that's associated with death. So do your death rituals around this time. Not of a physical death, but a mental and a spiritual death. So any rituals that revolve around death magic. Death magic is the magic to be working with during these times. Death magic. And if that scares you, then, you know, you can go meditate in the mountains somewhere. All right. Where we at? Heard some slaves that were abroad or aboard the ship to America's escape using their magic. That's definitely an aspect of it, because these people were not foolish. Anyway, like I said, I don't really want to touch on it because we don't have that much time here. So, you know, I'll just leave it for next time. All right. I saw a lady talk to a tree once at a music festival for real. Yeah, it's real. You know what I mean? Tree spirits are real. Fairies, that's the fairies. The tree spirits are the fairies. So anybody connected with the fairies, elementals, is connected with the trees as well. I did a whole video about trees, talking to trees. Watch my video called The Art of Chaos Magic. Watch my video called The Art of Chaos Magic. I talked about trees and tree spirits in that video. But that's old as far as like 2015, 3 years ago, but still breaking it down. All right. I feel like certain people is about. I feel certain people is about to bring out that energy, that dark side of themselves, since that's what Scorpios are about anyways. No, Scorpios are primitive beasts. You know, a Scorpio can either be that snake crawling on its belly or that eagle or a phoenix. I'm not gonna say the eagle, the phoenix. As a Scorpio, you can either be the snake or the phoenix. So there's Scorpios who's just all about fucking, sucking, titties, ass. Then there's Scorpios who are always about recreating themselves from scratch over and over and over and over again. They don't really have an identity because they constantly change it and evolve into something brand new every time. So it is, it all depends on what side of the scale you on. Not saying one is better than the other, it's just two different aspects of it. It all depends on what path you want to go down. All right. What if you identify with a pharaoh that doesn't embody dark magic? Did Mayat embody the dark? Every god or goddess has two aspects of themselves, right? So you got Mayat, but then you got the dark side. Why? Because polarity exists. That's why Mayat is not just the goddess of divine justice. She's also the goddess of other things as well. And each god or goddess has a dualistic nature to them, like the same way we do. You got the dark, you got the light, left and right. They also have a dualistic nature. So, and there's plenty of deities that are not particularly dark. So that's the majority of them. Majority of the deities are not dark. It's not that many demons and devils and demonic figures. It's really not that many compared to how many angels and saints is out here. So you shouldn't have a hard time at all finding something that's not dark. What's up, Kayla? Can I use urine on my symbols since it contains the same stuff as blood? No, urine is blood plasma. Let's understand this. Urine is blood plasma. Semen is the equivalent to blood. So if anything, if you don't want to use your actual blood, you should use your semen versus your actual urine, because that's just like the plasma of the blood. It's not strong enough. So if you ain't using actual blood, then your next best bet is semen, because it technically is blood. So there you go with that. Here we go with this. Scorpio equal transformation. That's the one thing I love about y'all. Y'all always transforming, and y'all very intuitive. I just hate that y'all don't trust much. I don't know what Scorpios you're talking about. I don't know what energy, cause it's just more so like Scorpios just don't like giving their time and energy to somebody who cannot truly appreciate them for who and what they are. So why trust a bunch of strangers, who don't have your best interests at heart anyway? So that's just how Scorpio thinks. It's like, if I'm really going to give my energy to anybody, it's going to be somebody that understands me, the dark and the light. And that's what it's all about. Can you accept the dark and the light of a person? And that will truly define who and what you are by your ability to accept the sinister nature in us all. Can you accept the sinister nature in yourself and all other beings? That will determine how far you advance in the maze of life. And we have 5% now, so we will be getting out of here. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching. What's up? What is it? Aaliyah? Nah, Alicia. Y'all know how I be with these names. My ex was a Scorpio. Our energy together was sinister, as it should have been. As it should have been. Why? Because that sinister shit is what moves mountains. That's what a power is. if you know how to redirect it and shape and mold it to that which you desire. Okay. Peace. I got 2 phones now. I can make. I don't know what you talking about here. So we'll answer this last question. One more question: can you have an effective meditation on a full stomach compared to when I'm fasting? I would say meditate in the morning when you get up on an empty stomach. Can you do it with stomach in your system? Yes, but it's just a lot more easier. You know, when you do it in the morning and you wake up fresh, versus you do it at night when you got all this stuff going on. So, but either way works. You can get it in full stomach, full stomach, or empty stomach. It all, you can get it in if you really want to get it in. It just will be a slightly different experience, but nonetheless, it's still a meditation and it still counts. So on that note, I'll definitely be getting back at y'all again. So for the members of the website, look out for that set video. I'll be doing that sometime this weekend. And the next video I will be doing here, I'll probably, I'll do the video about slavery and the alchemical nature of slavery. That'll probably be the title, the alchemical nature of slavery. We're going to be going deep into that. The type of stuff you don't want to fucking hear. The type of stuff that make you feel uncomfortable. But we're going to look at it from an alchemical perspective and not, get in our emotions. Because this is a part of our history, whether we like it or not, whether we believe in it or not. But, it is what it is. We're going to strictly deal with reality. And with that being said, I will see y'all soon. Much love. Hate, destruction, peace, wisdom, madness, with the bullshit and the fuck shit. But we always come in humble spirits. We out.